Despite the huge fame surrounding the legend of Atlantis, it's really nothing more than what its name suggests, a legend. There's no evidence, no ruins, no manuscripts. Just a story that popped into Plato's head, much like his idea of the ideal city. But here's the thing, when you dig deeper into history, you'll find that there are other lands and civilizations that might have actually existed, and the chances of them being real are far greater than Atlantis. So let's dive in. If you're into mysteries like this, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the bell, so you're always here when we uncover the next lost world. Lemuria, the lost continent. The idea of Lemuria was born from certain references found in ancient texts, which were later reinforced by some scientific discoveries. The word Lemuria comes from the lemur, a type of primate divided into several families and species, all living in India and Madagascar. Now, Madagascar is a separate African island in the Indian Ocean. Because of this, many researchers believed that India and Madagascar were once connected as part of a much larger landmass. And indeed, in the 1960s, science confirmed this assumption. That's what made the theory of Lemuria so famous, at least among specialists. Many of them were convinced that Lemuria truly existed. Some even believed it was the cradle of civilization itself. As the idea spread, disagreements grew. Some said Lemuria sank into the Indian Ocean. Others claimed it sank into both the Indian and Pacific Oceans because it was such a massive continent. A third group suggested Lemuria was only an island of a bigger land called Mu. But overall, everyone agreed on one principle. There was a real lost land called Lemuria. Still, these interpretations fall under the category of pseudoscience. Yet, no matter how uncertain the evidence is for Lemuria, it is still much stronger than anything we have for Atlantis. Mu, the forgotten continent. Another sibling of Atlantis in the family of lost continents is Mu. Like Lemuria, Mu also has geological clues. Many researchers talk about it as a lost continent. Among them was Japanese marine geologist Masaaki Kimura, who believed that the underwater rock formations off the coast of Japan, most famously the Yonaguni Monument, were the remains of Mu's lost civilization. Some even considered Mu and Lemuria to be part of the same massive supercontinent. Beyond geology, Mu is also mentioned in ancient religious texts. For example, the Mayan Madrid Codex refers to the people of Mu as the ancestors of the Maya. It claims that the people of Mu flourished between 50,000 and 12,000 BC. The British researcher James Churchward even presented another piece of evidence, citing the Hindu epic Ramayana as a reference to Mu's existence. Based on all these accounts, researchers built a full hypothesis. Mu stretched from Hawaii across the Pacific to Australia and the Fiji Islands. Some even attributed famous monuments to Mu's civilization, like the giant Moai statues on Easter Island. But once the theory of Mu spread, exaggerations and myths followed. Today, there are even religious groups who make pilgrimages to Mount Shasta in California, believing it was the last refuge of the people of Mu after their homeland sank. The Osirian Civilization. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Osiris was the god of rebirth and judgment. His story with his wife Isis and their son Horus is one of the most famous myths, portraying them as benevolent gods. It's well known that mythology often contains fragments of truth, like the Great Flood of Noah, which also appears in the myths of Mesopotamia. Because of this, some researchers believe there was once an Osirian civilization founded by the family of Osiris. This civilization, they argue, stretched across what is now the Mediterranean. According to the theory, the Nile at that time flowed through many parts of the Mediterranean, reaching islands like Malta and Sicily, and even extending to Gibraltar. The Osirian civilization supposedly flourished over this vast region and was considered the mother civilization that gave birth to many others. But as sea levels rose and the Mediterranean took its current shape, this civilization sank. Survivors, according to the theory, went on to establish later known civilizations. Supporting evidence? Geological studies confirm that more than 200 sunken cities exist in the Mediterranean Sea. Shambhala, the Hidden Kingdom. The name Shambhala comes from Sanskrit and appears in the religious texts of the Bon tradition, an ancient belief system in Tibet. According to these texts, Shambhala was a highly advanced civilization stretching from the Pacific Ocean to the Indian Ocean, covering regions that are now islands and nations. But then a great catastrophe struck, likely an earthquake and tsunami, that submerged much of Shambhala. Because the people of this civilization were advanced, many escaped to the highlands of Tibet. There, they supposedly built vast networks of tunnels, roads, and caves deep in the mountains. And indeed, some passages have been found in Tibet, though they don't match the vast scale described in the legend. Buddhists, however, argue that these texts are symbolic, describing spiritual truths rather than physical events. They believe Shambhala represents a higher world of the spirit. But whether symbolic or literal, both sides agree on one thing. The story of Shambhala exists and refuses to fade. And the evidence for Shambhala is, again, stronger than anything for Atlantis. This civilization is so mysterious that researchers haven't even agreed on a single name for it. For now, they call it Pumapunku and Tiwanaku. It's a massive archaeological site in Bolivia, near the border with Peru, sitting on the high plateau of the Andes, 4,000 meters above sea level. It contains a complex of temples shrouded in mystery. Local traditions of the Inca and other nearby cultures regard it as the place where the world itself began. Even today, the site defies scientific explanation. Enormous blocks of stone and statues were somehow transported up to these incredible heights. The structures are crafted with precision so advanced that it seems impossible they were built by hand. Some researchers even argue the mystery here surpasses that of the Great Pyramid of Giza. There's also heavy debate about the age of the ruins. At first, scholars believed the site was built between 400 to 600 AD. But many others challenged this, suggesting the ruins could be as old as 15,000 years. Among the strangest features is the Wall of Faces, a collection of stones carved into human heads. Some researchers claim these faces represent people of all races, Arab, European, African, and more. Critics argue erosion blurred the features and that they're not distinct enough. But if true, the question becomes, how could people 15,000 years ago, in this remote part of the world, have known about other human races across the globe? Add to that the mystery of how such massive stones were lifted to 4,000 meters above sea level, and you're left with no explanation. That's why many people resort to the theory of extraterrestrial involvement. All the civilizations we talked about today, Lemuria, Mu, the Osirian Civilization, Shambhala, Pumapunku, each of them has some kind of evidence, texts, ruins, or artifacts, unlike Atlantis, which was simply a story written by a philosopher. So here's the question. If you could choose just one of these lost civilizations to explore for yourself, which one would it be and why? Drop your answers in the comments. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe so more people can join the adventure. See you in the next one.